What's up, everybody? Brett here, and I'm back today playing some more Total War Warhammer 2 hot multiplayer action. Gonna be watching a fun replay today, a 2v2 sent in by a subscriber, Uzumaki Norio. He sent me in a pretty sweet 3v3 last time, and I was eager to see what he had for me this time when I saw that it was gonna be the Tomb Kings and the Vampire Coast versus the Empire and Bretonnia. So kind of a cool thematic matchup. Humans versus Undead. We've got the artillery of the Empire, the cavalry of Bretonnia, the bone giants and archers. Man, look at the skeletons here from the Tomb Kings. But let's see what the Vampire Coast is rocking as well. I'm not going to go in slow-mo. I will put the unit cards up, though. Oh, is that Queen Bess? Yeah, I can see her baggage train from here. And they are shooting at these Grail Knights who are placed way out to the side. And tight formations here. Lots of deck gunners. I see a Necrofex Colossus, and they're all just being protected by hordes and hordes of zombies. Tons of carronades as well. They've got their handguns in the front, pole arms in the back. What is this? Animated Hulks. You don't get to see these guys very often. Hideous, hideous sea creatures. And just lots and lots of cheap skeletons to protect all of the range tools that the Tomb Kings player here has. Triple Bone Giant. Going to be able to snipe pretty much anything. Foot Squires marching forward for Bretonnia, or at least they're squaring up, trying to take some of this missile fire so that the peasant bowmen can shoot in to the archers. So interesting here, you'll see that the Undead players have scooted pretty much to the maximum end of their deployment zone so that they could put their archers as far forward as possible. And man, they've tried to take it offline, and they almost have it. There's great cannon here, but there's also a great cannon here. And the Hellstorm rocket battery, which I'm actually surprised they're not targeting. A Skull Storm going off here, and it's tearing into these men-at-arms. You can actually see the skulls inside of it. As the Bretonnian Lord comes in. Is that going to be King Lewin? It is. He's got his Royal Hippogriff Knights. They're trying to dunk Grand Hierophant Katep, which they can absolutely do. They have super armor piercing, and they do have extremely high weapon strength. So another cast from Grand Hierophant Katep on his, like, I guess you can call it a mount. It's a bunch of bones and an altar, but he can shoot like an artillery piece. And by shutting him down like this, he's not able to shoot. However, Royal Hippogriff Knights are a unit in the game that needs healing. They can't just go in and not receive healing, because they're going to get absolutely torn up by this Tomb Prince and any anti-large units that are around. So the Empire player, in addition to their artillery, I see handgunners, 2 units. 3 units, but really all their targets that they have, if they can't get close enough to these bone giants to shoot, they're just going to be shooting at shielded skeletons. And the anti-large here on these paladins and King Lewin is going to make them very effective at taking out the bone giants, but at what cost? If they have to get this surrounded. It's not ending that badly for them right now, because there really is no anti-large infantry units on the battlefield for the Tomb Kings. And as hard of a hit as the Tomb Kings are currently taking, they're really taking kind of the brunt of the artillery fire and most of the archer fire. The Vampire Coast is completely untouched, and Queen Bess is just raining death. And anyone who gets too close to this front line is going to be taking volleys from the handguns. So unless they really commit, they're going to have a hard time dealing with this. Necrofex Colossi, they're just going to stand there and shoot as well. Queen Bess has been left behind, and they're kind of pushing in. They've got like a slow vice collapsing from this angle. And the best thing probably about the Bone Giants as artillery pieces, aside from the fact that they're giant constructs that you also have to beat in melee, is that they're mobile, right? They're very mobile. They found themselves under attack in the front line, so they take a step back, and all of a sudden they just have a better line of sight once again. Tomb Prince here is great anti-large. He's basically a halberd unit on a horse. And yeah, the Hippogriff Knights I don't think have a bonus versus large, just armor piercing. And you can see their AI is kind of like derping out. They don't really know what to do. They're not able to get like a full surround on the Tomb Prince and beat him down. So he's going to be pretty effective. And Realm of Souls popping. That's the 3rd one already. And they're going to get healed. Basically an undead wide heal. And they're going to be able to summon some Ushabti somewhere on the battlefield. Curious to see where he puts them. I would consider putting them here, and that's exactly what he did. Yeah, so they're going to get into the Great Cannons, these Ushabti. Looks like there's a couple Knights, Empire Knights. No, actually Reichsguard. So better versus infantry, but they're going to have a hard time dealing with these Ushabti that have been dropped upon them. They have a Bright Wizard up here, a nice choice versus any undead army. But if he's not casting, I don't know what he's doing. And Queen Bess is just picking apart these handgunners right here, the Rotting Leviathan, in and amongst armor piercing. I mean, there's great swords here, there's halberds. These are the exact units it doesn't want to fight, but it's a damage sponge. It's gonna accrue value just by making sure that other units on the battlefield don't take the damage. And the Depth Guard, let's get the charge of the Depth Guard in here. Awesome. Halberdiers have charge defense against all, so they're not going to get their 27 charge bonus, but they will absolutely chew through them with little to no losses. The double Skull Storm on Grand Hierophant Kotep is an amazing strategy against this much infantry. We've got Karl Franz here, the Emperor himself. He's on a Pegasus, so very mobile, but this is not where he wants to be. He's trying to shut down these handgunners, and he kind of has, but at the same time, all of those other entities are still shooting. You got the deck gunners here, these extremely squishy units. Good play here from the Bretonnian player, recognizing the vulnerability of Queen Bess and these Carronades. Some archers here, I saw they had the Blessed Legion. They call them of demonetization because their name sounds like a bad word. Yeah, there they are, with their armor sundering. Lots of mobility here, lots of anti-large. If I was the Bretonnian player, I would probably send one here, and one there, and just kind of shut down these three units. But there's a pretty big battle going on for the hill, and it looks like the Ushabti were finally shut down, but man, I would love to know how many kills they got before they died. I'm sure it was quite a bit. Some archers are still trying to rally behind this forest line, but there is just so much range left on this side. We've got 3 Bone Giants. They're nearly out of ammunition, but Grand Hierophant Kotep still has 7 shots. And that's a lot of AoE damage. Meanwhile, the Rotting Leviathan, despite being accused by the Witch Hunter here, taking some damage over time, probably taking some decent armor-piercing missile shots, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's just pushing them back continuously. Non-stop pressure. If Karl Franz has the, well, he's got Foe Seeker. No, he doesn't. He does not have his Warhammer. He will not have the armor-piercing bonus versus large that he probably needs to really kill the Rotting Leviathan, but he's surrounded. I'm assuming the gender of a Rotting Leviathan. It's a crab. It's a giant crab, guys, and it's going to go down shortly, I'm sure. Still a couple deckhand mobs getting in, and a nice smattering of deckhand mobs mixed in with the Depth Guard is going to really allow them to absorb that damage so that they can heal with the hunger. Every time they attack, they heal themselves, and they're nowhere near their regeneration cap. And it looks like pretty much a mass rout. The Flying Goon Squad of Bretonnia really has nowhere to go. The Bone Giants were able to shoot off all of their ammunition. King Lewin, despite having regen, if he was able to survive long enough, he'll be able to come back. But these deck gunners have pretty big range at 245, and they're just going to shoot him until he runs off the battlefield. So it's kind of a last stand here. The Witch Hunter, Karl Franz, trying to take down these vampires mixed in. And I don't know if he will be able to do it. And yeah, that's it. I mean, at that point, there was overwhelming, funnily enough, from the Undead side of the battlefield. Yeah, not surprised here to see that the Hellstorm Rocket Battery racked up huge kills. That's not surprising. I think, honestly, Dr. Respect here totally forgot he had a Bright Wizard. I didn't see a single cast of anything. I also didn't see what spells he brought. But, I mean, a well-placed Flame Storm, a well-placed Burning Skull, or, even if you just brought the buffing spells, like Cascading Fire Cloak, something like that, Flaming Sword of Ruin, those are all good spells against the Undead, but, I mean, you've got to use that on your infantry, and you got to hope that you're able to take those types of fights that let you kind of mow them down. And there was just so much chaff on this side of the battlefield. 369 kills on Grand Hierophant Kotep. Some of that's from his function as an artillery piece, but I'm sure a lot of that came from some well-placed Skull Storms. I saw at least 3 or 4 of those. And anytime your opponent gets to use all the ammunition on 3 Bone Giants, you have to imagine that that battle wasn't really going your way. The Necrofex Colossus was able to sit and shoot that entire battle. The Carronades, I mean, they got their value. By the time these 3 artillery pieces were shut down, the battle was essentially over, and I don't think there was much anyone could do. Funny to see just such a big peasant build. I think maybe Elite Cavalry might have been the way to go in this battle. Some Elite Cavalry with just tons of maybe Knight Errants to pressure the backfield. You have to suspect when you're fighting against the Vampire Coast that someone's going to be bringing, especially in a 2v2, these types of really hard-hitting, kind of AoE, splash damage dealing, long-range artillery pieces like Queen Bess. I would be suspecting them, and I would probably try and overwhelm as much as I can. And I mean, flaming arrows. I mean, those would have been good to see as well versus Tomb Kings and Vampire Coast. Instead of the chevrons, maybe just get the flaming arrows. A bit more armor piercing and the potential to really put the hurt on units that regenerate. King Lewin did great. I mean, he did good work with the Paladins, but it was kind of too little too late. A lot of these kills were probably on the crews of artillery pieces and not so much on the extremely valuable targets that they needed to be on. And yeah, anytime you see 0 kills on a foot squire, that feels pretty bad. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you once again to Uzumaki Norio. I know you have a different name and you've changed it. But thank you so much for continuing to send in your replays. And guys, if you would like to send me a replay, just go ahead and add me on Steam. My name is Goodtalk Gaming. And just say, hey man, I've got some replays for you. Make sure they're current. And I'll just send you a message with an email that you can send them to. And it's just as easy as that. I'll take a look and look to cast one of your games. So thank you so much for watching. As always, I will see you in the next one, guys. Take care.